Being at least marginally good at a lot of things really kind of made me lazy. And this was a really difficult thing for me to look in the mirror and recognize about myself. But my talent alone on its own did me a disservice in that I was expecting motivation and perseverance to just happen simply because I was a fast learner. I was great at pattern recognition, and there were a lot of things that I could show up to and do pretty good without having to put in a lot of effort. But I have now learned that through my self-publishing journey, it has really exposed these areas of weakness and these areas of just growth that I need, and realizing that, you know what, I was not as disciplined as I originally thought I was. So let's talk about it. Hello friend and fellow adventurer, my name is Kayla. I am a multi-passionate creative doing all the things and documenting my messy middle so you don't feel so alone in yours. Welcome or welcome back to Sidequests and Sideeyes, part cozy tavern, part strategy guide, and all unhinged chaos. Around these parts, we take a hardcore side eye to hustle culture, we go the pace of grace, and we celebrate every win. Showering does count. If you're new around these parts, I love making these videos where I honestly just chat. I just chat. I call them tavern chats because I have a lot going on up here. And sometimes when I say those things out loud, I realize there are others that are feeling the same way. And by me just saying it, by going first, it seems to validate other people's experience. It makes them feel maybe a little less alone, like I said in my intro. And one of the things that is very, very difficult for me is when I'm looking in a mirror, and I'm maybe not actually looking in a mirror, but when I'm doing some self-reflection and I'm realizing there are some areas of growth that need significant attending to, and realizing that, oh, you know what, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And this video is not meant to be this humble brag and, oh, look how terrible, but I happen to be very good at catching on to things. As an artist, I'm very great at pattern recognition. I'm very good at picking up on new skills and things of the sort, right? So I am primarily a musician, a vocalist primarily. That is probably the artistic medium that I am most skilled in. I would say talented first and then skilled because I've actually honed those skills as well. It's kind of how I see it. I see talent as kind of just this raw ability without a lot of training. It's just something that kind of comes very natural to you. And then a skill is something that, you know, you actively put in time and effort, you practice, and you develop those skills. And skill plus, you know, talent together makes, I don't know, something. I don't know. This isn't a perfect illustration, okay? Anyways, in the artistic realm, there are a lot of different artistic mediums that I can pick up on very quickly. I am a vocalist, but if I were to put time and effort into drawing, I would be able to be a halfway decent drawer. I am pretty good at writing. I'm writing a fantasy duology currently. And while I know I'm no, you know, New York Times bestseller by any stretch of the imagination, like, I don't think my writing is terrible. I think it's okay. You know, I think it's pretty good. And I'm trying to think of some other things. Oh, I've done graphic design, photography, web design. And here's the thing, I end up being marginally, at least marginally good at all of these things that I pick up. Now, I would say I have above average skill within vocal performance. Because that's my thing. That's what I'm good at. That's what I love. You know, I'm really good at it. And there are some other areas that maybe I would say I'm above average. Now, who's the average? I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel confident in saying that is the area in which I excel in. But I'm very marginally good in a lot of things, right? I can do a lot of these things because I'm able to kind of pick up on these skill sets and just hone them really quickly. Here's here's the downside with that. I love that I have that ability. And I know a lot of other people that also have that ability. My brother is the same way. The problem that it's maybe, is it a problem? I don't know. The downside, the other side of the coin, maybe we'll say it that way. The other side of the coin to that is that it's bred a level of laziness that I didn't realize was laziness within myself. Okay. Now I am really big on rest. I'm really big on giving yourself space to breathe. I'm not talking about rest. I mean laziness for me, really, where I have the ability to move forward on something and I choose not to. Why? Simply because I want to hang out and ignore responsibilities. I've noticed this about myself at different seasons in my life, usually when I'm being pushed to a new level. So in college, I was a music major. And if you are a music major, have been a music major, then you understand that it is a hefty load. Being a music major is a very hefty load in college. And I wasn't even at like a top tier college. Like I was at a good college, but I wasn't at Juilliard, okay? Don't know if I would have made it at Juilliard. I'm good, but I don't know if I'd make it at Juilliard type thing, okay? But in that particular context, I kind of realized like, oh, I can get away with a lot. I can pass a lot of tests. I can pass a lot of juries. I can do really well on things without that much practice. I can still get A's without trying that hard. And there's a beauty in that, right? Like, there's something really nice about that. And that's the kind of thing that really frustrates some people who really struggle in those contexts, right? They're like, how is it so easy? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just easy for me. The flip side of that coin, though, is when I look back, like at college or in these different seasons where it's kind of a pressure cooker, so it really highlighted like, hey, there's this whole other level and realm of possibilities that exists for you. Should you decide to just maybe put a little more effort in, have a little discipline, have a little self-discipline. And I'm realizing that once again with my self-publishing journey is there's this other level of creativity, but also just a flow and a rhythm of continually making art on a regular basis, that because I can get away with being marginally good just by showing up, that I'm kind of missing out on what I actually would like to create. I'm able to make something nice, but I want to make something beautiful that I'm really, really proud of. And I don't know. I think self-publishing, this journey of self-publishing has made me realize how I can have a tendency towards laziness if I'm not careful, because I can get away with just kind of like showing up and like saying like, hey, I showed up, that counts, which it does, but it's that juxtaposition of, hey, what I really want to create is this, and you can create that, but you're going to have to put in the effort. You're going to have to put in some hours. You're going to have to put in some practice. You're going to have to be a beginner, which means that for a while, there are going to be some things that like you're not very happy with. And I felt that when I wrote my first draft. I wasn't really happy with it. Like, I knew it was a good story and I knew that I was a pretty good writer, and I certainly could have turned it in and self-published it as is, and it would have been okay. It wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. However, reading back over it, I was realizing like, yeah, this could be better. This could be so much more. It could be this whole expansion of a universe that I that I can see in my mind, but I haven't acquired all the skills yet to really be able to make it what I want it to be. And self-publishing has been another one of those pressure cooker moments where I look back and I say, hey, you can just show up as is, put in minimal effort, And it's not going to be awful, but are you going to, down the road, be happy with it when you know that there's more, that you can reach down within myself and say, hey, we can do more. We can make this even more expansive. We can make this even more beautiful. We can bring in more people with, if I really spend a little bit more time on how to craft words and how to do world building and how to work on the characters and make sure that they are all consistent. And what I found is that motivation doesn't really just hit you, and perseverance doesn't really just happen. You know, these things don't happen in a vacuum. It is something that we have to show up and actually put in the hours, put in the work. Because think about all of the different, this is what I get back to, is like, I think about all of the people who are putting in the work, that are actually like showing up for their craft. And just for, I don't like comparison, okay? I don't like comparison, but just for this illustration, just for comparison's sake, there are people out there who are not as good as you and I are in that thing, fill in the blank. But because they are showing up, they are doing the work, they are being consistent, they're not hustling, they're not giving into hustle culture necessarily, they're just being consistent. They're showing up, they're trying, they're making significant progress, they're building these beautiful communities of creators, they're doing the thing I want to do because they've decided, I'm going to hone my skill, I'm going to hone my craft, and I'm going to be disciplined enough to show up for myself, for this craft. I'm going to show up. Self-publishing is difficult. If you are, writing a book on its own is difficult on its own, right? And going the traditional route is difficult as well. Self-publishing is difficult in its own way, in that you have to do all the things by yourself because you are self-publishing. And this particular pressure cooker has just reminded me once again that talent alone is not enough. Like, talent alone is just not enough. It takes structure. Structure is your friend. And why do I say all this? I don't talk about like, look how good I am and look how amazing I am. I can do all of these things. And the reason why I bring that up is to hopefully encourage you that talent is not enough on its own. It will only take you so far. So even if you don't feel like, I don't feel like I'm that talented, I don't feel like I'm that great at drawing it, great at this, great at public speaking, great, fill in the blank. Maybe you feel like I don't have any talent for this at all, but I do have passion for it, and I care about it, and I want to try. Just know that I think self-discipline, showing up, consistency, I know, unfortunately, it is true. Consistently showing up and doing the work, I think, will take you farther than talent on its own ever will. And as somebody who feels like they are naturally talented, gifted was the word they used a lot, but as somebody who feels very naturally talented in a handful of areas, I can tell you that I could be further along. I could be further along had I made more of a concerted effort to be consistent, to have a little bit of self-discipline, to persevere, to create my own well of motivation and inspiration by continuing to move forward, even if it was in tiny, tiny, tiny little increments. I hope that encourages you today, that if you don't feel like you're talented or I'm not creative, guess what? You can become more so just by learning the skills, practicing, showing up even when you don't want to show up. So that is my ode to you today. And now we've come to the part of the show that I call Side Quest of the Week, where I, Celeste the Side Quester, bequeath to you a side quest that you can choose to go on, accept, or decline. It is totally up to you. And it is here to challenge you based on what we have blabbered on about today. So I always do these, I do most of these pretty impromptu, but I haven't really thought much about this one. So today, let's think, what side quest should I take you on? Let's go on let's call it the Make Your Muse side quest. Why? Because the muse is ultimately a myth. You are your own muse. discipline in my head. That's a whole other video, which we will do. I want you to choose something. I want you to choose something that either you have a talent in, and maybe you don't have a talent in, and you just are like, I would love to be better at this. This is something I care about. This is something I would like to do, but you've kind of been waiting. You've kind of been waiting for motivation to hit. You've kind of been waiting for the muse to hit. Like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Oh, I'm doing this thing. Oh, I'm writing. Oh, I'm drawing. Oh, I'm crocheting. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And I would like you to, just for 1 week, I want you to put in each day just 5 minutes for the craft. 5 minutes. You can even put on a timer. I want you to put in 5 minutes of that craft, not Pinterest searching, not Googling, not scrolling for inspiration. I mean actually sitting down and doing the thing for at least 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes for 1 week. And I want you to see if we build, if we kind of create, we make our own muse, our own well of motivation by saying, I'm going to show up in this small way. Okay? I want you to do that. And YouTube has this new thing where they have quizzes. I'm going to put that side quest in the quiz. I want you to let me know, are you going on a side quest or are you not? I want to know. If you'd like to dive a little bit deeper and have maybe a little bit of a greater challenge, I would encourage you to check out the Do Less side quest. It's down below. It is a 7-day self-paced adventure. It is all about finding what you can do with the messy middle that you currently find yourself in. It's about radical acceptance. How are you going to take what you have in your hands right now and keep moving forward? You are going to unequip a few things that are no longer serving you. You're going to equip some new armor that is going to serve you a little bit better as you move forward. That is called the Do Less side quest. If you would like to go on this side quest or any other side quest and also gain some XP, maybe save some points for some prizes that might be coming in the future, you can check out the Patreon where you can track all of that progress just for kicks and giggles, because why not have a little whimsy in your life? And we are at the end of my video, my favorite part where I like to say, if you haven't heard this before ever, or maybe you just haven't heard it recently, I want you to know that I am proud of you and your life is worth getting back up for. Talk to you later, friend. Bye.